This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, September 14th, 2009, and this is episode 617 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Hey, man, I have nothing witty to say to you tonight.
Well, Mike, the Jets are 1-0. Prediction?
Woohoo, baby, we're going all the way to 2-0.
2-0, okay. A lofty prediction.
And then that's it.
That's it. Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, on local news over here, they have a reporter whose name is actually Steve Barrett, and he does the Disney World beat. It's freaking me out.
That's weird, isn't it?
It's very weird.
It's freaking me out.
He's not bald, and he doesn't wear a
he's not a doctor. Not a doctor doing it on the side.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a different guy, but it's just.
And what, a safari hat?
Yeah.
And a safari hat.
It's just freaking me out. Also joining us on today's shoe is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Beauty and love will always survive.
Beauty and the Beast.
Fantastic.
Fantastic, Matt. You got it again.
Ah, very good.
And foot faulting his way into the podcast is...
Also joining us on today's show is Chris Eliopoulos of DesperateTimes.com. Welcome back, Chris.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man. Very nice.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's from Spider-Man. That's what Uncle Ben. It's what Uncle Ben.
They still do that?
Actually,
the rice guy?
The rice guy says that? What?
The guy tells it to Peter Parker before he dies.
Right. Well,
Parker dies?
Uncle Peter Parker's dead?
Uncle Ben's dead. Who's making the rice?
He's dead, Jim.
Is anyone else confused besides me?
Who's going to make the rice now?
Anyway.
I could really go for some rice. You know what? Bojangles sounds good right now.
Ooh.
On today's show, we are going to be talking about...
show?
Yes, two major changes at Walt Disney World. And the first one, obviously what we brought Chris on, is actually the Disney's acquisition of Marvel. And this is an interesting deal by Disney. I don't think anyone saw this necessarily coming off the bat. But Chris, when you heard, as someone who works in the comic book industry, when you heard about Disney's acquisition of Marvel, what were your thoughts?
Woohoo!
Really? I'm rich.
Well, it's funny. I got home from Disney World on Sunday night and woke up and got to work at 9 o'clock and found out that the company I mostly work for got bought by Disney. So it was like my two loves were brought together. So it was
peanut butter and chocolate. It was a good day.
It was Reese's peanut butter cups all day long.
Nice.
Now, do you work directly for Marvel, or you're an independent contractor?
I'm an independent contractor, but I do have a contract with them, and you know, most of my work comes through them.
So now, the thing with Marvel, though, is, I mean, I think many people are generally okay with the acquisition, but we're not going to be seeing changes as it relates to Walt Disney World anytime in the near future, it seems, right, Len?
Yeah, that's the thing I was trying to figure out. That most of the characters are actually licensed to Universal's parks, which are many of the characters, right? So there's a Spider-Man ride, there's a Hulk ride,
Dr. Doom.
There's a bunch of other stuff over it, which is kind of funny now that Universal has to license the characters from Disney.
But Disney said that they would honor the contract, so those are...
Yeah, well, they pretty much have to, so...
Yeah, so I mean, they're going to be there for a little while. What are your thoughts on the acquisition, Len?
I'm just trying to figure out where the Marvel characters fit into the theme parks, which is kind of why it would be interesting to pull Chris in on this, because I can't imagine Disney World doing a Spider-Man ride just like Universal does a Spider-Man ride, right? That would be unusual.
I don't think you're going to see Spidey climbing the castle.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's a marketing thing. It's a totally marketing thing.
Well, so I guess the only rough analogy that I had was like to Pixar, where they are integrating Pixar into, you know, all the parks except for the Animal Kingdom.
Well, I thought actually a better analogy, Len, might actually be when Disney bought what used to be Fox Family Channel, and they acquired now it's the ABC Family Channel, obviously, but with that deal, they got properties like the Power Rangers, which actually did make it into the park in that regard. It took a few years, but you know they brought that part into it. But like you said, I think it's actually going to, or I think Newell said it, it's going to be. I think, at least personally, I kind of see the Marvel deal being a deal that's more going to be affecting Disney outside of the parks.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think
Chris?
you're gonna start seeing the movies being released on Buena Vista and being distributed by Buena Vista. I think it's more of a distribution marketing plan than it is to bring those actual characters into the parks.
Yeah, Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, let's first just say, because I want to protect myself and say that I have no knowledge of any of this stuff. I mean, I may work for them, but I don't have any inside knowledge of.
Why did we bring you on the show then?
Yeah,
Because short and stupid, and stupid related
Stupid
to the
rule-
land. So
On this show, stupid rules.
stupid rules. But I guess I do have a working knowledge of the Marvel characters and stuff. And from what I understand, from what I heard, is that the contract is that Disney cannot, or any outside theme park cannot have any of the Marvel characters anywhere east of the Mississippi.
Yep.
In the continental United States. So you've got Disneyland, you've got Hong Kong, you've got Japan, and anywhere else they decide to run Disney characters. But I tend to think that the choice was made to buy Disney for the properties that they can make movies out of. I tend to think that
more. I think
really
it's
looking
movies
for.
too.
I don't think they're looking for theme park attractions.
Right. So
Movies. So they've got like 4,000 characters, right?
5,000 and about 4,000 of them are second-tier characters that probably nobody in the world has ever heard of. I mean, if you think about it,
Like-
Iron Man was heard of until the movie came out. Most people didn't know who this character was. So.
well, I'd like to point out, Chris, that
Really?
Dr. Hochberg is now a Disney licensed character, right?
Well, who wrote him into that book?
That's right. He appeared in Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
He's real.
some hack
Dr.
short.
Hochberg is now
He's now a Disney employee. Yes, right.
Wow.
Does he render his enemies helpless with his fast talk
with his toy dinosaur.
and mispronounced names? Wow.
Yeah.
Scared
his
the
little
daylights out of me.
Anyway,
He's from Piscataway.
So yeah, I don't.
he's
Yeah.
from Piscataway.
Piscataway.
And he only eats at Pico Spills.
I'm
Wow.
sad.
at any rate,
Anyway,
But yeah, so I don't really think that there's going to be a large influx of Marvel characters into the theme parks immediately. I think this was more of a down the road purchase. I would assume maybe over time they would buy out some of the licensees, in terms of movies, like the Spider-Mans, the X-Men's, that kind of thing. But I really don't see them bringing the characters into the theme parks. And even then, if you think about it, Magic Kingdom, where are they going to fit in the Magic Kingdom?
That's what I was trying to
Epcot.
figure out. Yeah. So that's why I didn't think it was a theme park play. I thought it was movies and television and stuff like that.
And if it's the movies, it may tend to go into Matt's favorite park, and even then, it's going to take some time before they're able to even do that. So, I think this was a purchase for the future.
Hey, Chris, I got a question. We've all been reading what the Disney insiders think. What do the comic book insiders think of the deal?
It's funny. We've sort of been living in this world where we're not sure that the future holds any comic book readers, and the numbers are good for where we are, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not great numbers in terms of audiences. Like there's millions of people that have seen the Iron Man movie, and we only get about 50,000 people who will buy an Iron Man comic book. Disney has this great marketing wing. They know how to market their products. And I think for most of us, it's been the feeling that moving forward, they're going to really try to market our material much better than we have been able to up to this point. And I think it's a good thing. Bob Iger seems to have a real smart head on his shoulders and knows to leave well enough alone. He left Pixar alone and sort of really made that deal happen. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Marvel. From what I've heard, through channels, that we're going to be left alone to do as we see. And so most people feel it's a good thing in that Disney's going to bring a lot more readers to our stores and pick up our books, and that can only be a good thing. We need more people that are able to read in this country. So,
Well, that's what I'm going. I mean, what is the guy at Comic-Con? What do they think about it? Like the average comic book enthusiast.
There's two sets. There's the one guy that's going, oh no, they're going to make every Marvel character Disney-fied,
Right.
like sort of make it all ages friendly and leave it and just totally kill it.
Right.
The other parts are saying, you know what? It sounds like they're going to leave us alone and let us do what we do best and tell stories, and not do that, and sort of pick and choose, cherry pick what they think might work for the greater audiences, and do that. So, just like everything else, there's two sides to the story, and there's people that are like, oh no, Marvel's done for. But DC has been owned by Warner Brothers for years now, and nobody has ever squawked at being owned by a larger company like them.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm a Mickey Mouse guy.
Who do we call to get the crackdown on you personally, though, at Disney? Do you know? Heliopolis.
No, if you want me fired, I'm pretty sure after today they're going to listen to this and say, get rid of them.
Nah, nobody listens to this.
Yeah, no one listens to us. That's all right.
Well, let's shift gears here and go to the other big news that's happened, and this came over the weekend, actually, and that's, of course, the major changes coming to mostly the Magic Kingdom. Hollywood City is also getting a big deal, but really I'd like to focus on the big changes with Fantasyland. And for anyone who's been keeping track of the rumors on the online, I mean, you've no doubt seen the plans for a rumored Fantasyland expansion, and at the D23 Expo in Anaheim over the weekend, they announced that it did come true. So coming down the pipeline in many years, we're talking about, by 2013, 2014, that's kind of the time frame they're looking for to have this complete, to have a huge Fantasyland expansion, which includes increasing the size of Dumbo it's going to be dual Dumbos, I guess, with
Dueling
a really
Dumbos.
interesting queuing area. Pixie Hollow will be added. Every princess gets its own little area. I think this is really the interesting thing about it. I mean, having this really fleshed out thing. Certainly, if you look at the concept art, it looks really, really cool. Scopo, what were your thoughts when you heard about the Fantasyland expansion?
Well, the first thing I thought was a long time coming was another sit-down restaurant with the Beast Castle.
Yeah.
I thought that was to me that was the biggest news, that there would be another sit-down restaurant in that park that's been needing that for such a long time. So that was well received.
Well, wait, hold on. Did you hear that's how that's going to work though?
No.
It's counter service at lunch, and then it's sit down for dinner.
Huh.
Really?
So I was talking to Jim Hill yesterday. It's counter service. They're going to move people in and out during lunch, and they're going to do their $1 million during lunch. But then it's going to be a high priced dinner in the 3 rooms. So it's like the ballroom, the library, and some other room for dinner. And they're going to bring in the living character initiatives. Seriously, am I running long? Is that why you're coughing?
No,
Yeah, what's that? You don't have a mute button?
I had to get the Jim Hill asterisk out. Hold on a second.
The other thing is that and as we've seen Fantasyland change over the last several years, the thing that I didn't recall noticing this in the concept art, but I'm guessing that along with Toontown, Pooh's Playful Spot is going to be history too.
I'm looking at the concept art, and I kind of see some trees over where it is. But it's not clear whether that fits or not.
Yeah, because they really can't expand that much back there. I mean, they can't expand the park that much.
Yeah,
so,
no. I'm thinking it's just a placeholder and it's gone. But this is an interesting question though. So they've got the meet and greets, right, for the princesses. Every princess gets her little abode. They've got the Ariel's dark ride, which is pretty big actually. Yeah. They've got the dueling Dumbos. They've got the restaurant. There's a lot of water around it, so they've got moats and lakes and rivers and streams and stuff. But if you look at the sort of the back right corner of the concept art, it's not clear whether Toontown actually lives or dies. Because if the princesses are moving out, what's left in Toontown? You can kind of see in the sort of the far distance of the concept art what's left of Barnstormer. So I guess it's kind of might sort of be there.
Yeah, no, I think to make room for the expansion, most of Toontown is going to be removed. I mean, Barnstormer's still going to be there. Possibly it'll be rethemed, possibly even related kind of to Dumbo's Circus. And Mickey and Minnie will get new homes near the front of the park. So,
that makes sense. So they can move the exposition hall stuff.
I think Fantasyland is totally
back of the park,
taking it over. Yeah,
that makes sense. So we get rid of Toontown.
I'm not no love lost there. I don't think.
No, I wonder where the train. I guess will still stop back there somehow. because you still need a train stop back
Yeah,
there.
they won't go on the other side of the tracks. That's the other thing. The tracks.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're definitely not going on the other side of the tracks.
I really like the idea. I think the expansion, makes a lot of sense to me. I think Scopa hit upon something which is big in the restaurant. I like that. But I generally like the ideas. I think they're. When I heard everything about it the first time with the rumors, then basically the confirmation is almost the same. I really like it. Chris, what are your thoughts on the change?
Where's the pirates land for the boys?
Yeah, it's coming.
No, that is true. There seems to be a void left now for the guys with all the princess things they announced yesterday. I agree with Chris.
Their big marketing push now is princesses and fairies.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm biased. I got 2 boys, and
that's where Marvel Comics comes in.
See, but we go to the boys. Right? I mean, right now they're 10 years old. We go to Fantasyland. It's just a way to get through to get to pirates, and there's nothing in that land that my kids are going to want to go see.
Yeah, it's true with Princess Greetings.
Enter Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, exactly.
They actually were very excited for the other news about Star Tours.
Yes,
they were really they were jumping up and down on that one. So
see, I was
until I saw the video clip.
Yeah. See,
let's wait and see on that one.
The video clip looks a
they're
little
kids. They think Jar Jar Binks is better than Han Solo. So I've already written those kids off.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, you're not raising them well.
Yeah.
I mean, as a Star Wars fan, the pod racing is probably one of the worst aspects of Star Wars in general, along with most of the first episode. But the saving grace, I guess, is that from everything we're reading, Chris, is that the pod race, it's not going to be centered around the pod race, it's just one aspect of it. So hopefully that's the case.
Well, that's what they released in terms of the video and information. Right. So they saw that and they were really excited.
Long, yeah.
When I told them that Fantasyland was going to be almost more than double the size, they went, so? I mean, they like, Ariel, who cares? So, it's great.
Until they're about 14.
True. Until they see Belle, and then they'll be right in line behind Scopa.
Well, you guys bring up a very good point.
How you doing?
Could Disney be taking a risk by focusing more on one demographic rather than the other, rather than try to embrace a combination of demographics for each and every land? Maybe they're making a mistake, because Fantasyland will now be, obviously, that will have a larger footprint than any of the other lands in the Magic Kingdom. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
But Fantasyland is one of the dominant lands in every other theme park. I mean, look how big it is in Disneyland. Look how big it is in Paris. It's huge.
Right.
Well, I mean, am I mistaken? I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but am I the only one who always thought that Disney World in general was slanted towards girls to begin with?
Yeah, I never thought that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Thinking it now, though.
And that's why it appealed to you, Matt. Anyway, so here's one of the interesting things about the idea. So one of the new features that they're going to add, and I think it's going up next year, is the castle walls that'll delineate the new Fantasyland land from the old land. So the idea that the way that Jim Hill explained it to me is you're actually going outside the castle walls, and that's sort of the theme. You're actually outside the castle when you go to these new lands. That's kind of neat. Yeah. The water features look interesting.
Well, that makes sense, Len, because you're dealing with Cinderella's chateau, and so Cinderella's chateau is a little cottage that's far, far from the castle.
It looks good. I mean, look, they're always doing things the right way. They're going to do it. It's going to be phenomenal to look at. Yeah. I'm just wondering. I mean, I've heard. What is it? There's a restaurant. It's Gaston's. That's going to be very manly.
Yeah, that was
be awesome.
It's going to be decorated with antlers. Newell's favorite.
Antler court.
That's right. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a tavern, but they're not going to sell alcohol.
They don't sell alcohol there.
Yeah. So what is it going to be? Some sudsy root beer and
sarsaparilla?
That's going to be awesome.
Some foul language. I mean, what is it?
The expectorating.
He's particularly good at it, right?
Here.
Just like brawls will break out on the hour. It'll be
brawls. That's nice.
Arm wrestling contest.
I'll have the stag. Awesome.
Although based on Gaston's diet, I guess whatever they serve over there will have a high level of cholesterol. It'll just be eggs, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. So we'll say.
Yeah.
And like Chris says, they'll work it out. It'll be good. We'll love it when it comes out. I mean,
yeah. Well, Len, let me ask you about this. Dumbo is obviously getting a major change here. Not only is it getting doubled in capacity, but it's also getting a very interesting queue line, kind of like taking Soarin's queue line, but then taking it to the next level. In my opinion, what are your thoughts on the Dumbo ride over there in terms of how they're changing it?
I haven't heard the queue change. What is it?
Well, they're going to have, it's not like, I mean, basically, as Jay Rizzullo explained it wasn't like you don't wait in line, you're like entertained in line. There's like queue interactive kind of things going on over there. He didn't obviously go into too much terrible amount of detail here. But instead of like there being just your typical queue, it'll be more like an interactive thing, I guess, that would, along the lines of, of Soarin' and things like that.
You look at the picture, it looks like they've got like dancing fountains and clowns on unicycles and big top thing going. So it might be just, a bit more.
It's like Glenn's Playroom.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like my other. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
without the sauna.
Well, the other big thing about Fantasyland, probably the biggest aspect of Fantasyland changing is, of course, they're adding the new Little Mermaid ride, which is
the same dark ride from DCA. Yeah,
it's gonna be. What's the same one?
I think so.
Well, so it's an e-ticket attraction. Is that true?
Yeah,
they have in Disneyland.
It's a big ride. Yeah, DCA.
So explain the ride a little bit, Len, without going into terrible detail.
So it follows the story of Ariel, I believe. So the Little Mermaid ride. Yeah, but it's long.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm there for you.
Oh man,
what kind of a ride is it? Right, I'm thinking e-ticket ride. I don't equate a dark ride with an e-ticket ride.
I'm not that sure on it.
Because when they say e-ticket rides, instantly in my mind I think of Expedition Everest, Tower of Terror,
right? The big names.
Yeah, those kinds of huge, those kinds of trains. But I mean, I guess maybe it's just gonna be a different kind of ride. I was just curious as to.
It's like Toy Story Mania. You'd say that would be an e-ticket ride, right?
Yeah, obviously the crowds definitely dictate that it is now for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you, Chris Eliopoulos, for joining us. And, of course, you can check out Chris's drawings at DesperateTimes.com. And
Is there a book coming out, Chris?
MiseryLoveSherman.com.
I got a couple of books coming out soon, so keep running to those websites. And
hey, when am I going to get the death keychain?
Oh, yeah, I saw that one too.
Just send your address, and we'll send it over there.
Nice.
I want to buy one. I don't want your stinking generosity. Let's buy one. Where do I buy one?
Anyway, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at WDWtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and Chris Eliopoulos, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.